So adding a new company into the master data configuration. So this is a topic for the what we call backend or the manager page. And we have this situation, and you can have this situation quite frequently where you need to add a new company into the system configuration. Now, what we recommend is that you never try this directly on in your production environment, but you do it in your QA. And there are certain steps that you need to follow. It is a complex modification that you need to add into your system configuration because it touches a lot of tables in the database. So it's not just the company code, it's all the information associated with it, everything that you have, like list departments, list group, cost centers, GL accounts. So from an IT admin point of view, there are a lot of information that you need to receive from the business, from the accounting team, and you can prepare this task and delegate certain parts of it to the other team, so you can really take and manage the process, but have other team fill in the information, so you can then just test, upload the information, and so on. Even for the testing part, you might need the help of other departments, of either super users or dedicated users that have access, and they can do the testing. So there are a couple of steps that you need to follow. First of all, you just create the contract. It's the company code that you create. Then you are downloading the system data, the one that some of you might remember from the initial onboarding that you have done. Then there are a lot of tabs that you need to look through. And this is the part where I was saying you need the help of other departments. It's a lot of information that you probably don't have, like what cost centers are pertaining to the new company, or what GL accounts, and so on. Once everything is filled in, you can upload the information, but you also need to take into consideration that you need to look into your organizational structure and see if ever you need to link the company to business units. Then once you have the information uploaded, you can perform the test. As I was saying, it might be somebody else that can perform the test, the super user, and how they can test that is by creating a contract into the new company code, activating it, posting transactions, posting events. If everything goes well, of course, you can move on to production. But with every error message that you get, you know what to correct. It's either you're missing a cost center or you're missing a GL account, and you will get those error messages, and you can go back and either request the missing information or make the correction, and so on. So here are a few slides to help you, to guide you. So as I was saying, the first step is to actually just create the company code, nothing more, just the company code. Then you can download the system data. Of course, many of you have several systems, so you need to choose the targeted system, the system where you are adding the new company. So that's the one that you are downloading. We're going to look into the master data export settings to make sure if ever all the switches are on, because you want to have the completed system configuration downloaded. Then as you download the Excel file, you will need to go through all the tabs and make sure you have the information. This is where you might want to delegate this task to other departments because it's not an information that you have. Once everything is filled in, you can upload the template, and you don't need to re-upload the existing information. So the other existing company, you can simply keep the information for the new company, and with update or insert, you will have that. Of course, once you do that, you will need to just check into the tables. You can use entity navigation. You can download the system configuration again to make sure that you have it. But of course, then what you need to do is move on to the testing part. So ask somebody, or if you have the access, do it yourself to create a contract, activate post-transaction and post-event. If everything goes well, then you can move to production. So this is the theory part. It doesn't seem very complicated, but at the same time, it is a complex task. So you want to consider all the details and go slowly through it. So I'm going to go back to the application. And for this, I'm going to go back to the master data configuration to the manager page. So in here, for example, I want to add a company in my disconnected system. This is the one here. And as I was mentioning, the first step that I want to do is to simply add my company code. And again, this is information that you will probably receive from some other departments. They will tell you, well, this is the new company code that we need to create. And from the add option here, and you'll see there are a lot of informations in here, but all you want to do is add your new company code. So let's say I'm using D 555. So this is all I'm going to do. I'm going to submit my my new company code. You see here, I haven't put any other details, description, nothing at all. And I'm coming back to the system to download the system configuration. But before that, I want to make sure that in my settings for the download of master data, I have all the relevant tables on. So how do I check that? In the settings, in the master data export settings, you will have a long list of tables. And to each of the table, there is a switch that is associated. So you may want to see like if all the switches that are relevant for your case are turned on. In this situation, what we recommend that you simply put everything on, because you don't want to miss any table. You don't want to go back, or you don't want to have this back and forth of, oh, I'm missing something. So we have here just 3 tables that are off, but for the sake of it, we're just going to put everything on. And this might not be the case for other type of changes that you do, like let's say you're just adding a new cost center or something that it's not so complex. But if you are adding a new company, this is the best approach. You want to have all the tables in there, so you're not missing anything. You're starting with all the information. So now I am going back to the master data configuration to the systems. And from these little arrows here, I just want to download the system data for the targeted system. So remember I said I want to add a company code in this system. Now, of course, this is a demo environment. It doesn't take a lot of time for the template to download, but in your case, it will be something that will take at least several minutes because you will have a lot of information. So now we have this Excel file. Many of you are used to it. You know what it is. You have all the information here that it's relevant to the system. And you know that's the first tabs here are the ones that we call at system level that you don't change because what we're adding is the company. So we're going to start further down. We're going to start with the LT company. So these are really the name of the tables. We're really working into the database. So I'm going into this is the first tab that it's relevant for the addition of the company code. And you can see here that I see the addition of my company code. And while I have the information about the other information, about the other companies, this can help me to fill in the information. However, it is my view, but it might be different. It might be something else within your organization that you do not have as an admin support. You do not have the information, so you might just want to send this file to some other department. You can put some comments in here and say like, fill in the information, put the description. You have here the classification percentages. These are relevant for the classification indication for the US GAAP, the standards, and so on. a lot of this information might not be available for you, but it's something that either the business or accounting team knows. Then, as you are moving through the other departments, again, you can add the information if you have it, but my advice is to let the relevant group fill in the information. So this will be the lease department, the same, the lease group for the unit. You absolutely need to add the information. It's going to be in a lot of cases each, but you need to have the information as you have it for the other company. The same for the IBR, and pretty quickly you are getting into accounting information, like the cost center, the profit center. This is more organizational, but we're getting closer to what we call the accounting table. So you talk about chart of depreciation, then the asset class. This is also something that they need to fill in. You need to see, like, am I using the same asset classes that I was using for the other companies? It's something different. Then, of course, the asset class mapping. So all these tables, they need to be filled in. The asset table is where the Nakisa is storing the information about existing assets. So this is a table that you don't need to fill in because, of course, as you are creating the new company, this table will be empty. So this is something that you can simply skip. The exchange rate type, of course, you need to fill in the information, the document type that are relevant for that company. And here we get into really accounting information, accounting table. So we have the GL accounting list that it's pertaining to the company. It needs to be filled in. And with that, the accounting determination tables, and you have multiple of them, you have 3 of them, the asset accounting determination, the accounting determination, and non-lease accounting determination. For those of you that are SAP connected, some of these tables are connected to SAP. So based on the experience that you have with other companies, you can see whether you can skip certain tables. For example, the asset accounting determination, if this is one of the tables that is synchronized to SAP. So once you have all the information that is filled in, you do not need to keep the information for the other company, so you can delete it and just keep the new information, what you want to fill in. So after you do that, and it's probably going to take some time, and you might want to check as you're getting the information from the teams, you might want to do some checks. You want to make sure that, for example, what you have in the accounting determination, the accounts here that are they're neatly put to each placeholder, that they're actually mentioned in the GL accounting list, or that the external mapping of the asset contains the asset that are also mentioned in the asset class. So you wanna do this type of checks, that if these connections, and in some of our previous session we talked about tables that are connected. So if the information is not connected, you might get errors. But as you test, as you create a contract and so on, if ever some of this information are not there, you are going to get the message. You will be able to correct it again. So you keep the template, and you make those corrections if needed. And once you have the information completed, you can come back to the master data, and with the little arrow that is pointing up, which is upload, you can choose what type of upload you are going to do. In this case, this is an additional information, so you want to choose update or insert. Keep in mind that you can put update only, insert only, but the ones that is more complete in this case is update or insert. If you're doing load, be very careful, because load is emptying the information, the previous information that was there, and even when you choose it, you will get a red message warning you that it's deleting historical transactional data. So you don't want to do that. So the one to use is update or insert. And once you do, you can check a bit through the tables to make sure that you have the information so you can open them up. Of course, if you have a lot of information, it might be harder. You will get those drop-down lists. So the easiest way to do is to start with some tests and see if everything goes well. So this is in general. These are the details about adding a new company code. Any questions here?
Yes, we have several.
Okay.
Yeah, Ada wanted to know if this procedure applies for hybrid companies or connected companies to SAP. I put down here that yes, you follow exactly the same procedure. And yeah, that was Adam. We have Laura with adding the information to the forms. Should you then remove the old data once the new data is filled out? And really, we don't want to. What we do in this case is you can re-upload the data with the option that was shown by Catalina, the insert update. If the record is already in the system and it's got some updates in the Excel file, the system will update those records in the master data configuration. If the record does not exist, it will insert. So it would be a good practice just to isolate all the data for your new company code. So it would be really added. Next time you want to either, update or delete some records, you can use exactly the same Excel file. And that was Laura. And we have a question for Richard. It says, do not forget to adjust the authorization profile for the new company code. Yes, that is correct. If you have defined the security by company code, I mean, the combination of lease area company code, then you want to update that those records in the Excel file. Or also all those columns named the ID, like the accounting determination ID. Those you want to make sure that because they are added through the Excel file, you want to make sure that you name those columns, making sure that every single cell's got a unique uh, value for that, because we are naming those through the Excel file. We are not letting the system, to assign those values into those type of records, meaning the ID columns. Whenever you see the accounting determination ID, non-accounting determination ID, whenever you get to see that, you want to make sure that you enter a unique file, a unique value in that cell for that record. Okay, so I guess that's, am I missing something?
Nice.
Sorry, can I just ask about just what you went over there about naming unique? So do you just look on the list and take the last number generated and then use the next one? Is it as easy as that, or?
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Also, sorry, just I'd asked about the QA system. So if I'm going to upload new company codes into the QA system, will that be able to be updated first? Because it's not in sync with production at the moment, so we can't do a accurate test.
I think Kata mentioned that you would do it first in the QA system, making sure that you have all the testing and then deploy your Excel,
in
your new
production,
Excel
but
file in
I think the
production.
question is, in case QA is not in sync with production, what you can do, you can request for the QA instance to be a copy of your production system.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't think we've had that for quite a long while, so that would be helpful.
Yeah, so that will be it's either you contact your account manager or you open a ticket where you request a copy of
Okay.
the production to be made into your QA.
Sure, that's great. I can do
Yeah.
that. Thank you.
You're very
And
welcome.
Angela, the presentation, yes, it will be shared with you all.
So the presentation, the materials, and the
Yeah.
recording will be available on our customer portal.
Okay.
Do we have
A quick
any other?
question.
Yes.
Yeah. What happen if, for example, let's say I don't fill one of the tabs because I don't need it, right? So I keep it blank and I uploaded the file as it is, or I have to remove that tab.
Either way, Christopher, you can either, if you just keep it empty, there won't be any addition to the database, or you can simply delete that tab because you want to shorten the time of the upload. If you just keep the tab, the system will still go through that empty tab. So especially when you have a large database, you want to think about performance. So
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome. I don't know, Laura, you still have your hand up or?
Sorry, I don't know how to
No.
get it back off.
No, it's okay. Don't worry. I wasn't
Oh, there we go.
sure. So now I have some follow-ups on the effective date. We have 1 minute left. I hope you can still bear with me for 1-2 minutes. If ever you have some other questions, please feel free to ask them.